Hello and welcome to the Ripon College Red Hawk Talk evening. We have tonight's session is basically big city to small town, small school. I will begin to introduce myself and others joining me this evening and we will get started. So I am Jill Cardinal, the Campus Event Coordinator. Welcome to this session. We've been doing these a few times over the last several weeks. We have a few more to come, so please make sure you check back on the Hawk Talk visit page on the website to see what other sessions are coming up. I know we have one next week that's going to be fun if you want to join the Halloween trivia night. And then we have one session on athletics and one on fine arts in November before we wrap up this semester. Again, welcome. I'm joined here today by my coworker, Lyn McCarthy, and also some current students that will introduce themselves in just a second. As we begin tonight, I want to kind of run through a couple of things about Ripon that you may or may not know. I'm sure I know some of you joining us are already accepted, and that's a wonderful thing. And we're glad that you're taking the chance to learn more tonight and connect with some of our students. But for those of you who don't know a lot, we are a small liberal arts college in Wisconsin and in the middle of Wisconsin. And we have about 800 students that are all undergraduate. 92% of them live on campus all 4 years. We are a residential campus. We have approximately 250 acres that the Ripon College encompasses, and that includes our Soresco Prairie, which is 130 acres, and that includes outdoor space to hike, bike, and just enjoy nature and the different plants and animals out there. Many students enjoy that space just to get away from the rigmarole and enjoy some outdoor time. And it's right by campus, of course, you can walk there. We have 10,000 living alumni that are out there in the world. You might know someone that's been at Ripon. And just as a fun side note, actor Harrison Ford, who you might know from Star Wars or Indiana Jones, he is a Ripon alum from back in the 60s. We pride ourselves on a close-knit community. So basically what that means to you is a small school that you're going to be known as a student, not as a number. You will know your professors, they will know you. You may find yourself having a cup of coffee with a professor or dog sitting for professors' animals, having a study session with the professor. They will know you and they'll know you as more than a student. They'll know where you came from. They might come to cheer you on at soccer, like Olivia might want to share. They might come to watch a theater production. So they're very involved and they know what you're doing on campus. Our curriculum is quite unique as well. You might have heard the term general education requirements in your college search. We don't have those requirements any longer. About 5 years ago, we switched up our curriculum. And there are really only 5 classes that every student at Ripon takes. You take them one at a time. And those classes are designed for you to develop skills that we feel will be necessary for you to find a good job or perhaps go on to grad school. And those things include things like quantitative reasoning and communication, writing, learning to research things, learning to work with other people. And those are all courses that are set up for you. And what that also means for a student coming in the fall next year, if you choose to come to Ripon, you'll technically take 4 classes. One would be a catalyst course. The other 3 are completely classes that you choose. So if you know what you want to major in, you can take a class in that major right off the bat when you first step on campus. Ripon also has plenty of opportunities to be involved in things besides the classroom, of course. We have 21 different D3 sports that we have students involved in. We have Greek life with about 35% of our students get involved in fraternities and sororities. We also have clubs like the Black Student Union. We have an outdoor club. We have Ultimate Frisbee. We even have a paranormal society of investigators. And if you want to learn more about that, check into Halloween trivia next week. We may be small, but we definitely have a great downtown area with unique restaurants and shops that you can walk to. Just comparing to a big city, there's no need to have a bus or a taxi in Ripon because everything is really, really close by and convenient for you. And then finally, just a note, if you don't know where we are, Ripon is about 80 miles from Milwaukee and about 180 miles from Chicago. So kind of puts that in perspective. So we're not really that far away if you wanted to head back home. We have big cities like Oshkosh and Appleton that are really 20 to 40 minutes away from Ripon itself. So with that, I wanted to mention, again, Lyn will act as our chat moderator. So she'll watch the Q&A and chat. You students are all on as muted, of course, but you can use those functions to ask questions. There are a couple things in chat now I see, but we'll work on answering those things as we move along. And feel free to let us know what's on your mind. But tonight we have Olivia and Maite with us. And I'm going to start with Maite. Would you just introduce yourself and a little bit of an intro of yourself for us?
Hi, I'm Maite Salcedo. I'm from the Chicagoland area. I'm a current sophomore here at Ripon College with a self-design major, and I'd like to become an immigration attorney one day, hopefully. I am a part of Greek Life. I'm a part of the Pre-Law Society. I'm a part of La Unida. I'm also a part of some of the sports on campus. I didn't get to play this time around, but perfect time to practice and to get my strength and agility up. And yeah, that's me.
Great. Olivia.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm a junior this year. I am a psychobiology major with a chemistry minor. On campus, I'm on the women's soccer team. I'm involved in Circle K. I'm a sister of Alpha Chi Omega, one of our sororities on campus. And then off campus, I'm also an EMT for Ripon Guardian Ambulance.
Great. And we are aware that Olivia is on call tonight. So we hope she can hang out the whole time with us, but if she has to run, it's because there's an emergency. So with that, again, ask questions. Anything in the question in the chat that we need to address right off the bat, Lynn? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to start off with is, and maybe Maite will start with you, but how did you initially learn about Ripon College up in the middle of Wisconsin?
So I hated my math class with a passion. My teacher was really mean and made us do a lot of work. And my counselor knew about that. They knew that I hated 7th grade math class. And she saw me in the hallway. She's like, "Hey, Maite, do you want to ditch math today?" And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "A college is coming up. It's Ripon College. You should look into them before 7th period today." And I looked them up and yeah, decent enough. I learned some facts and some random questions to ask. I just wanted to get away from class. I had no interest. So I go to this meeting and this very, very, very tall man shows up. He's like, I'm immediately scared, and he's very well dressed, and he has pens and buttons and all those college goodies. And I'm like, oh, it's a serious meeting. He tells me all these amazing things about the college, like how we're in Wisconsin, how it's so pretty. He shows me all these pictures. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. That looks awesome. They had my major. They had the sports I wanted to do, everything. It was all perfect. And I was like, okay, what's the catch? Turns out the catch was the price. And I was like, oh my goodness, on paper, that price was startling. And then fast forward to my senior year, and I needed to apply for colleges, and I didn't know where to start. And then I remember that one class that I ditched in order to go look at this college presentation, and I decided to apply to Ripon College. At that time, I called it Ripon. I didn't know how I was supposed to say it. And I applied. It was just kind of like a test trial because the application was free. I knew the people. They had reached out to me. They seemed nice. And I was like, what can I lose? So I applied. Like 2 weeks later, I get my acceptance packet and everything. I'm like, oh, wow. It was like, oh my goodness. And I talked to my mom. We came up here and we visited, and here we are.
Good. Olivia, how did you discover Ripon?
Yeah, so my high school soccer coach, he graduated from Ripon in the early 2014, I believe. And he knew that I was kind of interested in continuing soccer in college. And he got me in touch with the soccer coach here at Ripon. Maddie, one of the other admission counselors, she also came to visit my high school a couple times. I never actually met with her, but I knew she was there. And then I applied to Ripon. When I got my acceptance, I told my soccer coach, and he was like super ecstatic that I got in. And then a little bit later, I was in contact with the soccer coach again, and that's kind of how I ended up at Ripon.
Good. So obviously the topic today, oh, yay, Alex is coming in. We have another student with us. Thank you. Alex, I would love it if you would introduce yourself to our group of students, a little bit about yourself.
My name is Alexander Herrera. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I plan on doing communications and music double major.
Good, good. And then the gals just got done finishing telling us why how they found out about Ripon. So tell us how you learned about us.
So I actually went on a tour my junior year with my school, and honestly, at first I didn't really think it was a feasible option for me. But then I seen one of my friends got accepted, and he told me that all students get financial aid, and I'm a student that needs aid, so I really appreciated that. And I looked more into it and had a lot of stuff I really like.
Good, good. So as this session is really the idea of some of the students on our call are coming from large cities, which really the three of you have come from bigger cities. So what is your experience with the small town Ripon and small school? What would you say, I guess, the benefit of that? Olivia, you want to start?
I come from Appleton, so it's about like 75,000 people. For me, the biggest thing was that I have to drive at least like 5-10 minutes away from my house to get close to the city, where there's any like restaurants, stores, anything like that. But with Ripon, it's about a 5-minute walk to downtown. There's a lot of really cool shops down there. The sweet and salty ice cream parlor just opened up like last year, and it's a great place. Students go there all the time. The owner is the fire chief, so I see him all the time at work, and we love talking about all of that. But I just like the closeness of everything is really nice. You don't need a bus. You can walk, take a bike. So you don't really need a car here, which is really nice. And it's better for the environment as well.
Good. And Alex, I'll pick on you next. I know that you talked about liking the outdoors of Ripon, and can you tell what the difference is of living in Milwaukee and living in Ripon now?
The difference is pretty drastic. There's a lot more fresh air. I see a lot more green, which is really nice. I appreciate being able to go to the prairie. Like, obviously we're here for our education, but I feel like occasionally you do need to take a break, and nothing's better than just walking through nature. It's pretty relaxing. And I appreciate how, one thing that really took me by surprise that I didn't really like pay attention to is living in the city, you don't really get to see the stars due to the light pollution. But here you can come to the prairie and the stars look honestly very stunning.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yep.
Maite, anything that you'd like to add with the biggest, benefit or a change that you noticed coming here?
One of the big things that I noticed, well, not that I noticed, that my family noticed, well, we all did. It feels a lot safer.
Mm-hmm.
Where I live, there's cops every 2 seconds, every 3 seconds. There's, always on the news, someone died, there was a robbery, there was this, there was that. And here, the other day I called my dad, I was like, hey, I fell. He's like, that's probably going to be in the news as the worst thing that happened today. I'm like, you're right. I broke my heel, Dad. And no, not my actual heel, like my shoe heel. But it felt a lot safer, and it gave my parents a lot more peace of mind. And it also gives me a peace of mind because I don't see sirens going past my dorm nor any of that. So that's one of the major changes that I noticed.
Right. Very good. Cool. How about, you alluded a little bit to it, Olivia, but how about your favorite thing about either on campus or in town that you enjoy doing for fun? Any of you can answer.
I think off campus, I really enjoy going downtown, whether that's just like walking when it's nice out or going to the little shops. Everyone is super nice. A lot of times the owners will be in there and they just love talking to the college students. My favorite shop would be Sweet and Salty downtown. I love going there. They have tons of ice cream, food, sandwiches, whatever you can buy there, they have it. On campus, I really like how President Massetti will be walking his dog or just walking on campus. Same thing with a lot of the other professors. You'll see them just walking with their family on campus. And even if it's on a Saturday night, they'll still stop and talk to you, which you might not get at a bigger college because they know your name. Even if you had them for one class your first year on campus, they still remember you, even if you're a junior like me.
Great. Anyone else want to add a favorite thing to do on campus or in town?
I love going downtown too. Me and my boyfriend. So there's a lot of like restaurants, like diners, breakfast. Whatever you need, it's in town. If you want to walk, it's there. If you want to drive, there's a Mexican restaurant 5 minutes driving. Literally, whatever we want, we find. And my favorite thing to do is pretty much we printed out a map of Ripon, and we like flip around, and then we like mark it with a marker. You know how to bleeds through. That's where we go, and it's always something new, something great. And like Olivia said, usually the owners are there and they love to talk. It's never like, how in other college communities, like, oh, college kids, we don't like them. They actually want us to be there, and they make it so opening and welcoming for us to be there. Even the diners at 6 a.m., which I've gone, when it's a whole bunch of people getting ready for church, they're like, oh my goodness, you're so pretty. And then we just talk, I think her name is Mary. We're friends. She's like 82, and we see each other every other Sunday at 6 a.m. at the diner. So it's
Nice.
awesome.
I'm impressed you get up that early. Alex, you're a first year, so it's just been a couple of months, but what would be a favorite thing that you've experienced so far? You talked about the prairie, but anything else that really struck you as unique about Ripon and that you really, really enjoy?
I'm a big fan of
So
the
sorry,
Rodman.
I have to go.
You have a call.
I do.
Okay, Olivia.
Goodbye. Sorry.
Bye. Hope everything's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Safe.
Okay, sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
But as I was saying, I'm a big fan of the Rodman Center.
Yeah.
I like looking at all the artwork we have. It's very impressive. Plus, I
Could you talk a
appreciate
little
the
bit-
access we have.
Pardon me, Alex, for the people that don't know what the Rodman Center is, can you just share a little bit about that?
So it's the Rodman Center. It's pretty much our art department. So everything from theater to music to
Art.
pretty much everything art related. It's just I go there a lot because I'm a music major. I take my music classes there. Plus, I just like to go there, play the piano because there's like practice rooms. Very nice.
Which is another cool point. The fact that, well, you are a music major, you're thinking, correct? And you play the piano, you mentioned. Other instruments that you play?
Yeah, I used to play the cello.
Okay.
But primarily now I play like the piano and the guitar, and I do production.
Okay. And so you're able to, you mentioned a practice room. You're able to go and do that. I think that's something that at a larger school, you might be a little bit more, having a harder time getting those kinds of spaces, but the spaces are there for students to utilize. You can store your musical equipment and musical instruments down there. And again, the Rodman Center will certainly have shows through the students on campus, or actually artists that come in with their exhibits as well too. So cool. Do either of you have jobs? I actually know the answer to that, right? Besides admission, I know you work for the admission office. Is that the only job you have right now?
I work for this career and development office, front desk.
Yeah, great. And Maite, do you have another job?
I work for admissions as an intern, and I actually work for one of the presidential campaigns currently. So,
cool. So looking at that, and again, Alex, you're a first year, but looking at jobs on campus, that's something that students might be wondering about. Can you talk about the process and how you found those jobs? Maite, you want to give us a little overview of how you found your positions and how that worked for school?
Handshake.
Okay.
Something that's so cool about Ripon is that pretty much all the on-campus jobs are on Handshake, which is pretty much like an Indeed or any type of job search, but it's limited to on-campus jobs and out too, but all on-campus jobs are there, and you could literally find any of them. Like during summer, that's when most of the fall jobs open up, and library, mail center, career professional development, Commons, the Spot, which is our two food places. They're literally all in one place, and you could upload one resume and you're good to go. And it's awesome because it makes it feel a little bit more like if you were applying for an actual like real life job, like post graduation, they prepare you for that. They have interviews, they ask for your resume, some even ask for a cover letter, which is pretty awesome. That's how I got my admissions job. And I also have worked in the Wilmore Center, just checking in athletes, making sure they're okay, and making sure no one gets hurt.
Good. So we're using a lot of terms like the spot and the commons, as Maite mentioned. Those are both of our eating establishments on campus. The spot is more of a made to order kind of a place to go and grab a burger or something. And then the commons is really our buffet sort of style, like you're used to in school, where you're able to kind of choose your different items. And Rodman Center we mentioned, and then we also just mentioned the Wilmore Center, and that is our athletic center, which is recently renovated. So those are great spaces to know about. Is there a question, Lynn, that we can ask?
Yes, there is. I suppose just as a point of comparison, Michael's wondering how large were your high schools and how does college and high school compare?
You want to start with that one, Alex? Oh, you're on mute.
My high school is actually a very similar size to Ripon, so about like 800, 900 students. And there's a drastic difference because my high school wasn't very organized, because my school was like a startup school, so I don't know, things weren't really like stable, I guess. I feel like when I came to Ripon, everybody knows what they're doing and everybody's trying to help you out. So I really appreciate that. For example, I didn't stay how I got, well, I got my my desk job on through the website Handshake, but my admissions job I actually got through Lynn, because I actually told her that I was interested in doing it and she actually recommended me. And I've been doing pretty great so far. So that just shows like people actually care and want to help you succeed.
Good. Yes. Wonderful. Anything you want to add, Maite?
My high school is over 4,000 people, from freshmen to seniors. So it was a drastic change. But I like it because literally, you know, people. And what I like about the Ripon community is like, even if I haven't had like a conversation with another person, or say I'm best friends with that person, if they were to see that I'm sad or that I, you know, or even that I did something good, like I got a job or anything, they'll be there. Like, even if we know each other in passing, people, you know, other people exist, they know you exist. It's like a community, and I like it a lot more than the 4,000 people.
Great. How did you adjust to coming in to Ripon originally, just with meeting people and making friends? What was that like for you? Anybody want to jump in first?
I'd like to say I'm a very social person. So I moved in early because of Bridge. I'm a first generation college student. So we moved in because of their program that they offered. And so I moved in like a week earlier. And then the day that the rest of my class moved in, I was already moved in. I was all good. I was set. So I went out and I helped other people move into my building. And inclusively, my dad told me, you're not going to spend your time alone in your dorm. You better go out and make friends tonight. And I was like, okay, Dad. So I just went out and literally I said hi to as many people as I could. And now to this day, I still say hi to those same people that I said hi to on the first day. And like I said, we all know each other. We all congratulate each other. We're all there for each other. Even if like we don't know each other that deep.
I'm mute. Do you want to add something, Alex?
Yeah, for me, it's been slightly different due to COVID-19, but overall, still everybody's very nice. Like nobody's not gonna talk to you. Everybody seems pretty relaxed. Like nobody's trying to hurt anybody or do anything. That's nice.
Professors on campus, what would you say? Do you feel like there's been some or more than one that has really helped you adjust at all? Is there any kind of relationship you've built? And again, Alex, you're newer. but maybe you've already found a bond. Anybody want to talk about that you've had so far?
I haven't bonded with a lot of my professors, but I've had professors be very like understanding,
Mhm.
because like obviously things come up on the day-to-day lives that you can't really expect, and teachers are pretty comfortable with working around that, helping you out.
Yes, Maite?
I think I've been lucky with the professors that I've gotten, but I still feel like no matter what professor, no matter what class I take, I can't go wrong. Just to say a couple highlights, Joe Hatcher, Professor Hatcher, inclusively, he doesn't want me to call him professor because he's like, I don't want that superiority thing. We're all equal. He's awesome. One time I got a bad grade on a test in his class, and he was like, hey, it's okay. It's okay. You'll do fine. And I was like, I'm always that type of person. I would be really sad. And he brought out his guitar and started playing it, saying, you're fine, you'll do great, it'll be awesome, and started playing for the whole class. I was like, wow, this man. And no matter what, professors will say hi to you, even if you don't have their class, but they know you're a student, pretty much anyone, they'll say hi. Everyone's really sweet, unless they're grumpy, but in that case, they'll just do the nod thing.
No one's grumpy. What advice, would you give? And I maybe back up. Did you look at schools that were larger, that were more similar to your hometown? And what would be something you would tell a student who's considering Ripon coming from a big city?
I feel like it's important to realize what your needs are.
Mhm.
Like if you're a student that likes more one-on-one attention, because realistically, it's kind of uncomfortable to want to ask a question in like a 200-person seminar. Like that's unnerving. Most people probably would not want to be that person, that one person.
Mhm.
But in a smaller class sizes, it's a lot easier to get one-on-one help, and it's more of a conversation than just a lecture.
Mhm. Completely agree. Yeah, Maite.
I applied to bigger schools, and immediately while stepping onto their campus for like a campus tour, I was overwhelmed
Mhm.
because, when you go on your campus tour, whether it be virtual or in person, they say the building names. Like, for example, I live in Mapes. Alex lives in Scott. We go to class in Todd Weir, and that's like, what'd you say? Where is that? And it's confusing. And going to a bigger school, having 20 of those random names for buildings was very overwhelming for me. So it was one of the first things that I was like, I need a smaller school. I can't get lost, and I also can't pay the bus fare to go to my 9 a.m. class every day.
Mhm. Good point. Right. Yeah, I mean, class, the community itself, the campus, it's not huge. You can definitely walk from one end to the other, but it's not tiny either. Again, we have 250 acres that we take up in the town of Ripon, and that really is, it's spread out, but yet it feels like, you can jump over to that building, this building, and not take 20 minutes to walk from, your dorm to a classroom. So that can be a real benefit to students. Mhm.
I did have a student that I worked with some time ago who is currently a junior at Ripon, who said to me, Ripon is small, but it's not small-minded.
Mm.
And I very much appreciated that perspective that he had. Perhaps you could talk about the variety of students you've met from different majors or activities or locations around the country and how that has opened up your world. Maite?
My roommate is from Aurora, Colorado. My other friend is from Houston, Texas. My other friend is from, she's going to hate me, but I think it's somewhere in Canada. My other friend is from Barron, Wisconsin. One of my best friends is from Valdosta, Georgia. Literally, I didn't think, coming to Ripon, I was like, they're all going to be from Wisconsin. Like, I'm going to start saying milk. And no, there's so much different diversity, so much. And like, time to plug in the clubs I'm in. There's a Black Student Union, and Latinx Club, which is La Unida. And there's also Asian Student Association. There's Amnesty International. There's all these different clubs that you could join if you're looking for a more culturally focused group. And there's also, Campus Christian Fellowship, Gay Straight Alliance. There's all these different clubs and organizations, and it's like Lyn said, it's not a small-minded campus at all. There's even in the comments, even in the food, I've had some food that I never thought I'd ever get to try. Like, I've had tofu in so many different ways thanks to the comments. I've had it's just crazy. You never expect to have this much diversity, this much options, these many different people at such a small school in Wisconsin.
Very, very good answer. Alex, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I would have to definitely agree. Like I had the same like thoughts before I came. Just like it's in Wisconsin, it's pretty small. Like yeah, there might be people from like the surrounding area, but I don't know like how like vast. But I'm actually like fairly surprised. There's people from everywhere. Like because I also came early. I came a week early. I did the bridge program, and I met this guy named Max, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Detroit, or I'm from Michigan," and like it's cool having conversations with these people and getting new points of views that you just never would have really thought. Like I'm from the inner city in Milwaukee, and I'm having conversations with people from parts in Africa that I'm just walking alongside of, and I get to just talk to them. And I feel like that's very interesting.
Well, and I discovered the fact that the two of you had met prior to Alex starting school. Do you want to just share that quick story, how you guys met? One of you? Alex, maybe you want to share. How did you meet Maite?
So I did I came to the Dinner of Excellence, and I also did an overnight stay. And me and my mom met Maite because she came and reached out because she saw that I was part of the Latinx community. And it was very nice. She told me about the different clubs, and my mom really appreciated that there was someone who was able to talk Spanish to us. And I ended up, the person who I was spending the night with was actually fairly busy doing homework. So she invited me out because it was pretty early in the day and there was nothing to do. And yeah, we hung out for the afternoon with her tour person as well.
Very cool. So you knew someone when you came to campus because you had met a student already.
Yep.
Yeah, neat. I see there's one question.
Yes.
Yeah.
In
Go
fact,
ahead.
so a question for each of you. Do you feel that you got better or more help academically because you're in a smaller college? Can you speak to that? Opportunities for assistance?
I definitely think there's a lot more opportunity for assistance. For example, the Francine Center has a lot of really good resources. Like you can do one-on-one contracted tutoring. So that's very helpful if you need like individualized help. There's quantitative drop-in tutoring. So you could just, whether it's like a 2-minute question or a 20-minute question, you just come in, ask it, get out, get all the help you need. Plus there's presentation and writing like corrections that can be done for you. And all that is for no extra cost. So that's just very helpful.
Great. Maite?
And like I mentioned, professors do not want you to fail. They don't. That's not a professor's job. That's not what they want to do. Your professors actually care about you. For example, in one of my classes, I usually get BA range. And on this occasion, I was really stressed. I started a new job. And I got C, and my professor emailed me, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help? Was this difficult for you? Can we meet through Zoom? Are you?" And then simply, "Are you okay?" The first question is like, "Are you okay?" And then they, continued. It's like I said, they care about you. And you could also have your own initiative to get tutoring, like Alex said, and even reaching out to your classmates because no one wants to fail.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, if the professor had a class of 200, how would he even have the time or the knowledge to reach out to you in that sense? That they notice because they're only working with so many students, they notice if you are struggling or that your grade maybe dipped a little bit, well, that's not normal. So them to reach out to you. So I think that's a very valid thought process and a good thing to talk about for Ripon. Other questions students have, please throw them in there. I guess I would say, what's been the hardest thing for you to overcome coming into Ripon? Anything that you could talk about that you struggled with, but now found a way to deal with it?
I really miss my parents, like a lot. You know, you don't always see eye to eye with your parents, but coming in as a freshman, the first month I was like, yay, college, no parents. And then after a while, I got kind of homesick.
Sure.
That was a major struggle, and it affected me in a lot of ways. But branching out, talking to my professors, talking to the different clubs, you know, I didn't replace my parents, not at all. But I found my second home, my community, the people who would treat me like we were siblings, like we were in a house. And yeah, I still miss my parents. I miss my mom's cooking. I miss my little brother running around. But I found my home and my family here too. And that's something that I struggled for a while. And now that I don't feel that sad, that emotional, missing home, looking back, I should have branched out sooner. I should have made closer friends sooner. But I'm better now.
Yeah. I think it's really important for anybody to realize when you come into college, no matter where you go, it's going to be a little scary, and you're going to feel some things like homesickness or overwhelming. You know, those are normal things. And I think it's just a matter of knocking the door next to you, because they probably have the same thoughts and feelings, and that you're not alone. And at a place like Ripon, that you do have those connections, that you can work with people. And again, we're residential. So, you know, all the students, you're on campus when you're a first year, you're going to be with other first years in the same buildings and the same hallways. So it's done deliberately so that you are able to make those connections with students. So questions, looks like something else came in. Oh, you're on mute, Lynn.
There we go. Sorry. I'm curious to know whether Alex would quickly answer that question as well. Maybe one of the biggest challenges that you face.
So one of my biggest challenges so far has probably been forming healthier studying habits. That's because in high school, I never really, I didn't feel the need to study as much because it was just a lot easier. And I started studying more, but I just had to like start realizing that it's okay to ask for help and to get tutoring. Because you could do it all by yourself, realistically. Like, it's not too much for anybody to do, but even 4.0 students get tutoring. So it's, why wouldn't I?
Good point. Lynn, you're on mute.
My goodness. Thank you. A question. You've mentioned that because it's small, everyone knows one another, but are you also able to have privacy as you wish?
Okay, I brought that everyone knows each other. And yeah, so it's not like everyone's peeping through your window. It's like if you posted on Instagram that, you know, you got an award, you'll walk by the comments and people be like, hey, congrats on X award. If you and your boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other just hit a giant relationship milestone, people will be like, hey, congrats, you know, if you get a new job, that type of thing. But like right now, my friends don't know what I'm doing right now. They think I'm studying. It's not like they can hear me. It's not like they have cameras. They're not like they can see from my window. Not everything is public. It's pretty much as public as you want it to be. If you want to live stream your time in your room on Instagram Live or on Facebook Live, you know, go right ahead. But other than that, it's pretty much what you share.
Where do you go to find some quiet space? Let's say you have a roommate and you don't have your own room. Where do you go on campus to kind of find some quiet?
I go bother Alex at the Career Professional Development Center. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You want to answer that?
Like, there's just a bunch of different lounges you can go to. Like, just there's a lot of like quiet study spots that are very like secluded that you can just like make your own. So I feel like that's really nice. But about the privacy thing, like another thing, like most people don't care enough to be in your business, realistically. Like, people are nice, they will tell you, like, if they're your friends, they care. Everybody will make sure you're doing okay, but nobody's gonna like say anything bad about you or invade on your privacy at all. So I appreciate that.
Great, thank you.
Another quick question came in for Maite. Wondering how you got the job on the presidential campaign and what your job consists of.
So I am a pre-law student, and I do study politics. And one of my professors had told me, you should apply to work for this campaign. And I was like, ha, me, I'm 19, no. And he's like, yeah, you can do it. And he sent me the link and I applied. I got an interview within like 3 hours. They emailed me back. I was like, oh my goodness. So I got an interview and then I heard pretty quickly back that I got the job. I'm a field organizing intern in which I call people throughout the area that I'm assigned to for that day to see if they're registered to vote, and hopefully I could persuade them to vote for my party, as well as hosting events, hosting volunteer stuff, and pretty much just trying to make people vote for who I work for.
Cool. And in case it's asked, we are not associated with either Democrat or Republican.
That's why I haven't said who I work for.
Right. That was nice. But yes, so everybody's got their own free will to do what they would like. So there are clubs on campus in both respects, Democratic and Republican kinds of groups you can become part of. Lots of things on campus, really with like speakers and poets and musicians. We do a lot of those kinds of things too. So that's important to know that, again, we may be small, but we definitely have opportunities for events, experiences. You heard, Olivia left to go work for the EMT. Caitlin Hutchinson was going to join us tonight and she was not able to, but she's going into pharmacy school next year and she works at Ripon Drug, which is literally 2 blocks away. And she's gotten that job for the last year or so that she's working there and getting some good experience. So
she just found
kinds of things. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Pardon me. Caitlin just found out today that she was accepted into Madison's pharmacy school. So she is thrilled and has had some really nice hands-on work as an employee of the Ripon Drug and really has a sense of what she's getting herself into, and her dream opportunity happened today. So we're really proud of her. It's very competitive, but she's well prepared and excited.
And she has gotten into 2 schools. So Madison was the second one.
Rosalind Franklin was the first.
What's that?
Rosalind Franklin.
Thank you. See, and you knew that.
We're in the same sorority.
Okay, yeah. So again, small school, right? They know each other. But yeah, this is her second school she's been accepted into, but wants to go to Madison. So those are the things that I think happen on a daily basis for students here. And because you have those connections with professors, you're able to have those opportunities and get really great experiences while you're at a 4-year school. Any other questions, Lynn, in the queue?
Not at this time.
Okay. I'll give it like 30 seconds. What I'm going to do is I want to end with maybe a question or 2. These are for prizes. So if you want to put your answer to these in the Q&A, and my lovely sidekick, Lynn, will watch those names. And we're going to ask some questions relative to what we talked about. So the first question I'm going to ask is, how many acres is the prairie that we have on campus? So get as close as you can. And Lynn, see, that's the confusing part. Yep.
We have an answer?
We talked about the whole school, but yep, we got one, Lynn?
The prairie is 130 acres.
Great.
Congratulations, Amanda.
And Amanda, would you put in the chat or the Q&A your size? We're going to send you some kind of a shirt, okay? And then next question I have is, can you tell me, we mentioned a lot of different buildings and we named off some things. Can anyone list any name of a building that we talked about tonight? Give me one building name. Anybody yet? Oh, I've got something in chat. Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's you, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn.
Amanda.
Oh, yes. Amanda, again. Okay, let's somebody else want to answer too.
Megan Rodman, Center for the Arts.
Good. Megan Garris, right? And Megan, if
Yes.
you put in your size of the shirt, and we'll send you two shirts out to you ladies. So thank you for playing. And as Lynn did put out our Ripon visit information in the chat. And yes, Maite, go ahead. If you want to put in the chat, she's going to put out information to contact. If you want to talk to Alex or Maite beyond this, you are more than welcome. And always know that, you know, you're a counselor. So I work with students in different areas and Lynn works with students. So let your counselor know if you want to connect with somebody, whether it's a student or a faculty. We are more than happy to connect you. In this virtual world that we're in, we may not get you to be on campus. We want to give you the opportunity to talk to people either through Zoom or through a phone call or email. So just again, let us know if you have any questions that you can let us know. We'll get you connected to the right people. And with that, I think it looks like we have everything wrapped up. I thank so much for you students to join. If you haven't applied yet, please do so at ripon.edu. And thank you to Maite and Alexander and Lynn for helping us this evening. And we're glad you joined us. And next week again is the Halloween trivia. Really a fun time. We're going to play some trivia and hear from our some current students. And there might be some ghost stories in there. So join us next Thursday if you can. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Have
Good
a
night. Take care.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Maite.